Hey guys, Joseph Henson here with Henson CPA Group. This week we're shifting our focus to more of the holiday spirit, and we want to talk through holiday spending versus year-end goals, staying financially on track. I'm your host, Joseph Henson CPA with Henson CPA Group. I appreciate you guys joining in. I hope you're getting ready to have some time with your family next week. But let's go ahead and dive into this week's Facebook Live. Why this topic matters, especially for veterinarians. The holidays collide with your busiest and most expensive season. Now, busiest doesn't necessarily mean most profitable. Some folks see some slowdowns during this time. There's more discounts being given. There's a lot more time you feel like you're being pulled every which way. Extra spending and year-end obligations will equal a cash flow tension. Is this the time to give my staff a year-end bonus? I'm not sure. I feel like maybe the year has been okay, but I don't know if they've all earned it. I don't know if we can financially afford this. We haven't looked at it until now. Many clinics overspend now and then feel the consequence in Q1 of the next year. How do you do this? Well, not everything's a cash transaction. If you're putting that on a credit card, then you might realize next year, I've paid for all this stuff, and now I got to actually pay the bill. So today we'll break down how to stay in control without feeling deprived or like you're not able to enjoy all the hard work you've put into everything. The real cost of holiday spending. Holiday expenses often pull from businesses' accounts without planning. You want to have a good holiday season. You want to be able to give those holiday bonuses. You want to be able to help folks. This is all great. This is all admirable, but without planning, this will drain your accounts. Seasonal slowdown in January will magnify the impact of all of this. If you have that time where folks start to realize, hey, I overspent on Christmas. I overspent on this birthday in December as well. I overspent on a Christmas holiday vacation. We want to make sure you understand where you're at. So January, you can also kind of feel better about the whole pace. The emotional decision-making, staff gifts, holiday deals, stocking up will lead to overspending unintentionally. Everyone loves a good holiday deal. Your vendors are starting to say, if you prepay for your stock, if you prepay for inventory, we will go ahead and give you a 10% discount. I love discounts. I also love being able to know that come January, I can pay all the bills that need to be paid. The consequences, you're going to have tax payments and Q1 obligations that feel heavier. You're not sure where that cash is going to come from. You're now having to steal money out of this coffer to put it in this coffer, or even worse, take money from your personal account to make sure that the business has everything it needs to meet obligations. Understanding your year-end financial obligations. This is the time to really start digging into the owner distributions and payroll requirements. This is where you want to look at your cash flow to make sure that any obligations coming up can be met, especially for your employees. Because let's face it, if your employees aren't happy, they leave, you're up a creek without a paddle, and now what are you supposed to do? You have to go hire someone, which is going to be even more expensive. This is also a time when vendors want their final payments for the year. You know that they want to come knocking at your door for all the dog food you bought previously, all the medications you have on hand. This is a time where they're saying, hey, let me see what's going on. Year-end staff bonuses. Your staff worked hard all year. They deserve that reward. You know, they don't want just a pizza party for their staff party. They want that cold hard cash. They're trying to pay for Christmas gifts for folks. This is when you have to figure that out. You have sales tax coming up. You have payroll tax and income tax allocations. You're getting pulled every which way with taxes, and you're not sure where you need to go from here. Debt service and lease obligations. Do you have a new rent lease coming up in January that you now have to figure out? Well, it's time to start figuring that out today so that you're not worried about it on December 31st when you should be enjoying your New Year's Eve. These don't just disappear because December feels festive. These will only amplify and add to the stress of the holidays as well. Preparing for quarter one. This might be your slowest quarter. January through March, you typically see reduced client visits. Folks did overspend on the holidays and they realize, hey, you know what? It's okay if we wait until April to get our pet in. They're not hurting. They're not dying. They need their checkup, but we can hold this off. You'll have more cancellations because of weather potentially. There's a lot of things that go into that reduced client visits. A revenue dip plus increased holiday spending is pressure. We don't want pressure to be finance related. We want pressure to be from everything else you're trying to do with expansion while having growth everywhere you need it. A strong December plan will protect you from cash flow issues. It'll protect with payroll stability, your tax readiness, and making sure you can pay yourself as an owner on a consistent basis and understand that you feel good about what you made. Those 60-hour weeks were worth it, even though we really want to get you back down to that 40 to 45 hours. Here's some sample financial comparisons for the next 90 days. This is going to show you some holiday expenses, your fixed obligations that you see every month, your tax obligations in January, and how big the revenue dip is January through March. The reason you want to kind of look at this stuff is to make decisions with the next 90 days in mind, not just this month. November is almost over. It's about to be Thanksgiving, and we need to start figuring out what we're going to do for the next 90 days yesterday. And that's where we can come in to help you guys if you need it. How to set a holiday spending cap for your clinic. Start with your required December and January obligations. These are your fixed expenses. You know what goes into this. These are non-negotiable. You're looking at payroll, rent, any loan payments. You don't want them to come and take your x-ray machine away. Any taxes. You don't want the IRS knocking at your door saying, hey, you owe us $50,000. Where's that money? What is left is your true discretionary cap. You can afford to do this stuff as long as it is left under your discretionary cap. Variable costs happen. Those are going to fluctuate based on how many patients you see, but we want to know how much wiggle room do you have. Then from that, let's allocate intentionally. Gifts, stocking inventory, team meals, and decor. We want to make sure your place feels welcoming, inviting for the holidays. We want to have people feel warm and fuzzy. You give those gifts to your employees. You have inventory on hand. You want to have a nice Thanksgiving or Christmas meal for your team as a thank you. These are things you want to allocate towards intentionally. Don't just go tell your office manager, go buy what you need. Set a cap on this stuff. If the cap is tight, adjust it, not overspend it. If you feel that you have $3,000 left for this and everything's running up and you're like, man, I'm starting to think maybe I underestimated this. Let's scale that back. Let's do $800. It's a 20% reduction, but every one of your employees would rather know they're going to get paid. They're going to have a building to come into for rent. They have all the equipment that they need and that the taxes they have been properly paid. Smart ways to celebrate without breaking cash flow. Choose bonuses based on profitability, not your emotions. As a human being, it is very common to want to reward folks based on how you feel. Hey, I want everyone I know to have the house that they love, to have the vehicle they've always wanted. I also know my bank account and what I can afford. So when it comes to your employees, reward them based on profitability. If this year you had record profitability, great, let's give them a record-breaking Christmas bonus. If this year profitability was 20% down, well, maybe last year you gave them a $500 or $1,000. It might need to be 20% less. And if they have something to say, that's okay. That's where it's your job as an owner to explain how you came up with this. If they ask, be like, it wasn't a great year. I still want to reward you guys. Last year we had $100,000 in profit. This year we had 20% less. I need to be able to pay everyone something based on that. Offer low-cost team appreciation. This is food. This is personalized thank yous, small group events. It will never replace a bonus. This isn't a way to say, hey, we had record profits. Let's give you a pizza party. No one wants that. People want cold, hard cash. But low-cost team appreciation goes a long way, especially in a year they know wasn't phenomenal. Your employees know if they've been seeing less people. They have more time to sit around. It doesn't do the same thing it did last year. They have that understanding. And avoid panic buying equipment just for tax purposes. I have said this before on many videos. If you buy equipment just to reduce your taxes for the IRS, you're wasting money. Here's the truth of the matter. You're going to reduce your taxes on the short term. When that equipment breaks and the loan you took out on it outlives that equipment, you're going to feel like you just got scammed. When all of a sudden you are buying equipment that isn't truly necessary, you're going to realize in January, if you put this on a loan, that you have a lot of obligations. Excuse me. It gets dark out early here, guys. I'm a little bit tired on that. But you have these obligations to really make or break your January, February, March, that slow period. Don't panic buy. Your tax planning needs to happen from January until December. If it's not, it is better to pay the IRS 25, 30, 35% than to buy equipment to save that. So let's what does that really mean? If you buy $100,000 piece of equipment, you will save a portion of that if you depreciate 100% of that or Section 179 that. Great. What happens next year when you don't have that depreciation? You don't have that Section 179. You don't have that next year. Now you're out $100,000. You don't have the money to pay $35,000 next year, and you've grown 20% the next year also. So now, not only do you have to figure out how to pay the bill, you might need to go buy another piece of equipment. It gets messy. It is not the ideal way to tax plan. It is a way if you know the equipment, but it's not the way that I would recommend throughout the year. Protecting profitability through the holidays. Now is the time to review your profit and loss statement, not in January. Once January hits, it is a lot harder to actually have a plan to reduce your taxes. It also is going to hurt when you realize, hey, I had a good year. Now I had a huge loss in December because of the plans we made. Understand what revenue targets you need to hit to stay on track. You should be setting a target. You should be setting a target larger than this year potentially, unless you're scaling back intentionally. If this year you hit $50,000 a month, $600,000 for the year in gross revenue before any expenses, maybe next year you're looking to do $55,000 a month. That's one of the things you need to look at. Use a rolling 13-week cash forecast. What money do you have to start? What are the income you're expecting? What are the expenses you're expecting? Do you have a cash surplus or a cash default? You want to make sure that you can see where cash is so you can start planning for those slow periods. Implement temporary spending controls without cutting team morale. Maybe you bring breakfast every day for your team. Apologize. Maybe you always do something major for everyone's birthday. Now might be the time to temporarily curb some of that without just gutting morale. Say, hey guys, we're in a slow period. This year we're changing it up. We're celebrating every birthday that happens in the month of January this month and on one day. Still gonna do a cake, still gonna do that, but we want to make sure that we're not having to fire folks. Staying on track through year end. Make December decisions with quarter one in mind. You need to understand, as of today, when you make a decision in December, it will affect what happens in January. You need to set clear spending limits that align with year-end goals. If your year-end goal was to hit a certain dollar value in profit and you're close, every dollar you don't spend gets you closer to that goal. Don't let emotional holiday spending create financial stress in 2025. You have to be cognizant of the fact that not everything's going to go perfectly well. Not everyone's going to get everything they want. This is a time to enjoy the holidays, to enjoy time with family and loved ones, to enjoy time with your staff. You guys have worked hard all year. It's time, you want to enjoy that time with them. What you don't want is to make a decision now that you're going to hold on to later, especially if that means you're going to have a grudge later on. Small adjustments now will keep your practice stable, profitable, and prepared for the future. Want help with year-end planning or a custom cash flow tax projection? We can help you end 2025 and enter 2026 confident and prepared. Reach out to me. My email is joseph@hensoncpagroup.com. I have a booking link below in the comments. You can email, you can call. However we can help you, just let us know. But until then, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, and I will